It's going somewhere now,
It's
isn't
going
it?
somewhere now. So
Where's that
it's distributed
somewhere?
up between the Secretary of State, a little bit from the general fund, 49%.
That's what I thought you were going to say. That's what I
Hold on,
thought
I
you were
got a
going to
volume
say.
deal for you though, Senator. So this is only 49% of the 25%. So we're thinking there'll be more violations because the deputies, the sheriff doesn't want to send
So
it.
you're going to make up the difference by issuing more tickets?
Yes, sir. Exactly. But the reason is because the deputies don't want to write any tickets because.
Can I take my second back?
Hold on now, let me get through.
Okay.
So they don't want to give a violation because they have to send that deputy and pay him overtime, and they don't get a single cent off of it. They don't get anything.
And overtime is not taxed anymore, right?
No, sir, it may still be, because it could be sunsetted. I'm not sure about that, but I've heard whispering in the corner about that. But anyway, so they've taken the deputy off of the street, taken the police officer off of the street, and so they just, some of the municipalities and some of the counties are saying, don't write a violation. So we're not getting anything to the general fund. So we're thinking that, in Montgomery County, there hadn't been a violation on a handicap for 7 years that we went back. We checked for the city and the county, and there wasn't any violations written. And these people that are handicapped don't have a place to park.
So it's a pay or play bill.
Well, that's what he sold me on, is in 7 years, they haven't issued a citation. They have virtually no incentive to issue a citation, and he's giving them an incentive.
So they'll keep 100%, but we're still getting the 49%.
So 50% of maybe something.
So if you write it by a state trooper, we still keep the money going in play, this is the way it is, only for the municipalities and the county.
Okay, so state trooper, the state gets money, the local gets the money.
We'll still get the 49% of the $25. We're not losing anything. We'll get more volume on the ticket for the tag, but on the handicap, the municipality and the counties keep it all since they're not writing anything anyway.
I'm done.
Can you change the second to Senator Kelly? And then, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you. Well, I want him to finish, but I'm sorry. I was interested in this bill because I was trying to figure out, we were discussing it earlier, exactly what it meant. So I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to ask for an explanation of it again.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes, please.
So what this bill does, it gives the incentives for the municipalities and the county to keep that money. So if they write a ticket now, like on a handicap we were talking about, if you park in a handicap spot, Montgomery County has not done a violation in the city or the county. We've checked back 7 years. So they don't want to write a ticket because then they have to send that police officer to court and sit in court all day for no revenue. So they don't get anything off of it today. If they write a ticket, they get zero. The counties.
Is that where it's across the state?
Yes, ma'am, sure is. And this is a statewide bill. So this way, the counties will be able to keep the money and the municipalities keep the
Oh,
money.
great bill.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second already, but I think we're ready for the clerk to call on roll, if you would.
Senator Albritton? Senator Carnley? Senator Coleman? Senator Gudger? Senator Hatcher? Senator Hovey? Senator Kelly? Senator Coleman Madison? Thank you. Senator Chambliss? Senator Elliott?
Aye. Mr. Chairman, your bill receives fair report.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members.
Thanks for coming.
Senator Hatcher, good to see you, sir. That's my senator. Good to see you guys. Thank y'all.
Okay, is Senator Orr here? There he is in the back. Senator Orr, welcome. SB 217.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think the chairman has an amendment for this that should be up there. You see?
I do indeed, and it is in the front left-hand corner of your or pocket of your book there, and I'm going to offer the amendment. And I think Senator Chambliss will be okay with seconding that. Thank you. And Senator Orr, if you don't mind explaining that amendment, we'd appreciate it.
This comes from the County Commission Association, just making some clarifications to the bill as filed. And let me kind of back up from there. The reason this bill, I've had it before. It got out of the Senate. It was a couple years ago. Went to the House. I think we ran out of time. It primarily, for cities and counties, the goal is that they have full notice of the cost of bond debt. And many times you find that in the smaller populated counties and cities, as they're being sold, the possibility of issuing bonds to pay for the rec center or pay for this or that, many times full disclosure is a little bit lacking, and they sign the line, do the deal, and realize when revenues go down, they can't service the debt. The primary, after that, the primary focus is on refinancing. Here comes the bond salesman, says, oh, you can refinance, your payments will stay the same, this, that, and the other, and it'll bring down this much cash today that you can spend. But there's not a disclosure of how much more in interest they're going to be paying and other financial information that they need to have to make an educated decision. And as you know, bond debt can string over consecutive terms, so one council or commission could really mess up the financials of a county or a city for quite some time. So that's the premise of the bill. The amendment is comes from the County Commission Association to clarify a few things, and I'm open for questions.
Are there any questions on the amendment?
I got a generalized question.
Okay.
This only deals with bonds. It doesn't deal with when the commission goes and borrows from the local bank or something along that line.
My understanding is bond debt.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Okay.
That's, it can be long term.
Move for adoption of the amendment.
Okay, so we've already got a motion and a second on the amendment, and is there any objection to using the previous roll on the amendment? And we'll add you on there. Okay, so the amendment is adopted and we're on the bill. Any other questions on the bill? Senator Hovey.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate Senator Orr. I was able to pull him aside a little while ago to kind of get some clarifications. There's sort of two different worlds in this bond market, municipal bond market, and without going too far into the weeds here, but there's some concerns by some municipalities that operate in this field a lot more frequently than others, and so I appreciate the sponsor's commitment to at least entertain some notions that might an amendment might exclude some that have appropriate staffing and experience in this that would not necessarily want to be thrown out with the bathwater.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to move favorable report on the bill. I have a second by Senator Hovey. Any objection to using the previous roll? Your bill receives a favorable report,
Thank you,
Senator
Mr.
Orr.
Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, next up, SB 180, Senator Carnley, and you have a substitute that I believe, members, is in your left-hand pocket as well.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this particular bill was on committee a few weeks ago, and we asked that it be carried over because we were working with interested parties to clarify language just to make sure we weren't capturing any actions that were not intended in this. What this bill is intended to do is just say state agencies that are using state monies for advertising would not enter into an advertising agreement with an advertising agency that utilizes media monitoring entities to score networks on where that money can be used. Spoke to different organizations and special interest groups that had interest in advertising. I think we have, answered their questions, and we've made some changes. That's what the sub does in the definition of the media monitoring organization, what they do and the definition of it. Again, this is not the advertising agency, and what this says is the state agency, engages with an advertising agency, to distribute their dollars to different networks. That's not what we're dealing with. We're just saying if that advertising agency says, well, these networks score high risk, we're not going to use them. But most of the advertising agencies that we've talked to said they don't even know these organizations. They're usually global organizations. And so I think we're in a good spot. Everybody seems to be satisfied. Talk to the universities, Alabama Department of Public Health. Everybody seems to be good. So with that, I'll entertain questions.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two-part, because I was more well-versed with the original version, not the new sub that we've just gotten. So the two-part is the number one, what is the, or that could be the number two, what's the difference between the two versions of the bill? But the first part of it is the why. I mean, why are we doing this? Again, I'm more well-versed on the original version, and the way it read to me was that we don't want state agencies contracting with these entities that are going to determine if a media outlet is telling a lie or not. So why would we not want to make sure that the information that gets to the public is indeed facts and not made up stuff? So the two-part again, the why are we here? And then the number two is what is the difference between the two versions of the bill?
Okay. All right. So I'll go to the first one. Generally, these are subjective measures. What is factual, what is not, based on what they believe. If a news organization, has a story and they don't agree with it, then they could subjectively say that, okay, you're giving misinformation. If they go back and it's proven factual, then they still have the option to consider them high risk if they choose to. So I don't think this is like Nielsen ratings where it's demographic and fact-based, statistics, things that we can say, hey, we want to target market to these groups. That's fine. We're not into that. What this says is if an organization subjectively chooses to rate somebody, how do you go back and, get them to change your score?
So my question then is, because I'm fact-based, a lot of times there's legislation that we have that is based on things that are not fact. I do want to kind of know, when you just said that most of these people that are doing this, they're doing it subjectively, can you show me where that's happening at? Because when we're dealing with facts, facts are indeed facts. If somebody says, the earth is flat, but indeed we know that it is round, and media marketing, whatever entity says that this outlet is being untruthful because they've said that the earth is flat when we know that it's round. So, we're kind of living in a world right now where there are all of these folks that are calling themselves media people that are really just spouting their opinion instead of facts. So I want to know, based on what you just said, these folks are making these determinations subjectively. Where can I find that? Is there a study? Tell me where I can find it.
So there's the groups that are, the ones that are known. Global Alliance for Responsible Media is one of the organizations. Global Disinformation Index is another organization that does this. And NewsGuard. Those are the three that, we're familiar with. And I can give you this information here when we get finished, just so you'll have that. But again, a lot of advertising agencies here in Alabama that I talked to didn't even know who these organizations were. This is something that's happened, nationally. And so what happens is, well, let me finish. What happens is if Alabama Tourism wants to spend dollars, say in New York, or Texas or wherever, if those advertising agencies they engage with in other states where this money is trying to be placed to get people to come to Alabama, and they're using those metrics to say, hey, we're only gonna put your advertising dollars with these organizations, these media outlets, instead of these others because NewsGuard has rated this as high risk. Then, that way we could say, okay, we want to make sure we're going, out to organizations, advertising agencies that are basing it on statistics, Nielsen ratings, or whatever else they use in advertising to determine where these dollars should go.
Just not that if they're telling the truth or not. So, but again, you also just said, and this has been my problem since 2010. It's not a new problem with the new members that are here since 2010. With folks on the other side of the aisle that keep creating legislation for a problem that we don't even have.
Okay.
So
here's where the genesis of this. Okay, so Newsmax which is a conservative organization. they had a story that dealt with the Hunter Biden laptop story. Okay, so they broke this in 2019. They started talking about it. Well, then they were given a high-risk rating. Well, after the trial and everything was over with, and they found out the information they gave, not their opinion, but the information they gave was factual. They went back to NewsGuard and they said, hey, we want you to re-rate us. They said no. And so now this organization's kind of on the blacklist of networks that, you know, they're saying, hey, you can't spend advertising dollars over here because we gave them a high-risk score.
So somebody in the state of Alabama has told our folks that they couldn't spend money with Newsmax?
No.
That's the point I'm trying to make. I have no further comment.
Well, I'm just saying,
but
but
it
when
hasn't
it happens,
happened.
whether it's right or left,
happened.
this is not political. I mean, it can be either
But it is.
organization. Well, I mean, it is.
But it is. This
That's
piece
fine.
of, and this is the rub. And again, I'm really not trying, remember I said it since 2010. It's not the rub with you personally,
I get
because
it.
you're new to the Senate. The rub is this piece of legislation not going to put one new job in Alabama. This piece of legislation is not going to take down the cost of eggs. This piece of legislation is not going to help one poor person, one senior citizen, or anything. But it's red meat. And so this is just me personally, as a lawmaker, we should be doing things that actually help the people of the state of Alabama, not feeding into some of the national stuff that hadn't even happened here, just for red meat to get a headline to say that we've done something.
So we'll wait till it happens and then do something.
But it hadn't happened. It's something that
Okay.
hadn't happened. And again, as I said, it doesn't do one thing for the state of Alabama. It doesn't help one family in the state of Alabama. It feeds into a national agenda. And again, I'll say this again, I have no further comment, Mr. Chair, on this particular legislation.
Thank you, Senator. Okay, so we need to adopt the substitute first. Senator Carnley has offered his substitute. Do I have a second? I have a second from Senator Kelly.
Call the roll.
And you want a roll call on the substitute, okay?
Yeah.
Senator Albritton. Senator Carnley.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
No.
Senator Gedger. Senator Hatcher. I'm sorry? Thank you. Senator Hovey. Senator Kelly. Senator Coleman Madison.
No.
Senator Chambliss. Senator Elliott.
Aye. Okay, so the substitute's been adopted. Is there any further discussion on the bill as substituted?
I'd just like to make one comment on this. When I first read it, it seems like it's our attempt to not, we're all about transparency, at least we all should be about transparency, about not wanting the truth to be told to the public. And so that's the perception that I'm getting from this, in as much as we do not have this issue in Alabama. So I'm like, where are we going with this? But anyway.
Again, it maybe an advertising agency in Alabama is not participating, but if Alabama Tourism decides they want to go to another state and spend money in that state, you know, maybe there's an advertising agency there that is utilizing this that would preclude that money from being spent in other networks. And so
Well,
it's just saying that when that state agency, they would not knowingly spend state dollars with an agency that's using a media monitoring scoring
Let me just
system.
say, tourism is about bringing in, I call tourism dollars, tax-free dollars, because it comes from someplace else rather than out of Alabamians' pockets. We want people to come to Alabama. You know, that's the whole purpose of the tourism. They tell you how much money is generated in your districts based on tourism dollars. So I still don't see the need.
And they can still spend that money there in another state. We're not saying they can't spend the money there. They just would not engage with an advertising agency that uses media monitoring scoring to determine which news outlets can be advertised with.
You know, it wouldn't make sense if I'm trying to make money, if I'm placing these ads and I'm trying to make money, it wouldn't make sense for me to place the dollars that I expect to return on a market that doesn't return. This is a bill kind of looking for a problem here, but anyway. It's your
Senator
bill.
Carnley has moved for a favorable report of the bill as substituted, is second by Senator Chambliss. Would we be okay using the previous roll? Okay, using previous roll without objection. Your bill receives a favorable
Thank you,
report.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Representative Lee has House Bill 157. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. I about forgot what my bill was about back there. If you've been here for any length of time, if you haven't seen this, you probably will at some point. Over the years, while you're here and you happen to have a sheriff that's been in office for 14, 16 years, they've received cost of living raises over those years. Well, the way it stands today, if they were not to run or get beat, the new person has to go back to the original base pay. They will not go and receive the cost of living raises that they have received over the last 12, 14 years. I've had to bring bills here to get mine caught up. After he replaced the sheriff for a certain length of time. This deals with county elected officials.
I have a motion by Senator Chambliss, a second by Senator Albritton.
With a question.
And then Senator Albritton's recognized for a question.
May I forgot to mention, and they can, if you look at the next to last line on the last page, the county can opt out of this if they so choose.
It's permissive. Okay. Senator Albritton.
Thank you. This is county officials, county monies, correct?
Correct.
There's not general fund monies or anything of that nature, correct?
You will be happy to know it is not.
I am happy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted, for clarification, as the example that you use is that, okay, you're the person that's holding the position right now, you retire, you have received your cost of living or whatever, but you're retiring. New person brought in. Okay, so you're saying that they start them back at a zero rather than, rather than giving them, they start them as base pay rather than giving them plus the cost of living?
Correct. In some cases, the one that's running for office looks and sees that the sheriff's making $100,000. Well, he's been in that position for 16 years. He started at 65 or 70 or 75.
Right.
And he doesn't realize it till he gets in that he will not be drawing the $100,000.
So your bill saying that you start based on the 100,000?
On the previous salary of the sitting position, the person in that position.
I think in addition to this, somehow, because cost of living is an incentive for longevity kind of thing, there needs to be some kind of clarification in this bill, simply because all the benefits, again, going back to longevity, that person has been there for a period of time, and that's one of the reasons why they have certain benefits. So the person who's coming in is going to take advantage of the fact that I just started. It's just like hiring a kid out of college, okay? But we understand that this person is being paid, you have step increments, and you've gotten this because of the fact that you've been there. So if somebody new comes in and say, okay, but I want what they, is there something that kind of address that? Because in a way I see it maybe tying the hands of local governments, not being able to adjust a salary?
And they can opt out if they choose, but I'll give you an example. You have an officer that's been with a county department, sheriff's department for 20 years, and he runs for office, and he expects to get what the previous sheriff was making, but yet he has to go back less than what he's actually making as a deputy, because his increase has passed him beyond what it started at 16 years ago. That's what happened with my area.
Would they not, don't they advertise, and well, let me just say, and I don't know, but would you accept a friendly amendment that the salary be advertised so the person will know? I mean, it's basically kind of up to them, but somehow the person needs to know what they're coming into.
Well, I'm hoping we're going to fix that today.
Well, I mean, because they may say, well, all right, well, we know that the last person got this. It may be a couple of $1,000s less. I don't know. But I don't want to tie local government's hands. either, based on experience. And so you do have to factor in all of those things.
And I agree, and that's why it was so important to put that last little, next to the last line there in it, that they have the opportunity to opt out if they so choose.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you. Hey, Paul.
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
Haven't seen you in a while. Just a question just on procedure, because I hear what the gentlelady is saying, and thank you for that last piece, except as otherwise provided by local government law. But what does that mean? Is that by local government ordinance, or is that something that has to happen here since this will be a statute? Will it be something that has to be done here?
Since it's with the county, so they don't have local control, I would think it would have to come
Have to be
through
done by here. So that, I think what I'm trying to, again,
That's what I had,
process.
that's why I had to bring it up here to bring it up, to get it to where it should have been. I have had to do that. And over the last 15 years, I've seen it done many times from different
I
counties.
bet. I guess I'm almost feeling like it should have been an opt-in instead of an opt-out then, just procedurally if it was something that had to be done by statute, but that's neither here nor there.
Any further questions? I have a motion by Senator Chambliss and a second by Senator Hovey. And we need to, we've already done that. Great. And we'll go ahead and call the long roll if that's okay with y'all. Let's do that.
Senator Albritton? Senator Carnley? Senator Coleman?
No.
Senator Gudger? Senator Hatcher? Senator Hovey? Senator Kelly? Senator Coleman Madison?
I'm going to vote aye. I'm going to check with my local Jefferson County delegation folk. I know that we're a little bit different from rural counties, but we are concerned about them as long. But I do want to make sure, and I see Sonny, I thought I had seen Sonny somewhere here. If he's not.
He's right there.
Okay.
Always.
I just need to make sure that the counties are aware, and that this is articulated, and they understand that if they don't take any action on this, because it could tie their budgets up, you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That if they don't take any action on this, that they are automatically in.
Right, we actually passed this bill in the House last year, and at this point passed it through, I believe, the Senate, just never got on the floor because of timing.
Okay, let's continue with the roll.
Senator Coleman Madison? Aye. Thank you. Senator Chambliss? Senator Elliott?
Aye. Representative Lee, your bill receives a favorable report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next up, we have a bill on weed. Just kidding, submerged aquatic vegetation. It's a little water humor there. Submerged aquatic vegetation, I think, is the technical term. Representative Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is House Bill 92. This is grass, but it's good grass. It's non-smokable grass. What this deals with is seagrass that grows under the water, and this bill is primarily focused on Mobile Bay and the areas around there, Weeks Bay, Portersville Bay, Mississippi Sound. And what's happened to us down there is since the late 19th century, we've experienced a dramatic loss in the amount of seagrass that we've had. Mobile Bay, 30 to 40% of the seagrass that existed at the turn of the last century is gone. Some of the estimates for areas like Weeks Bay in Baldwin County are up as high as 90% could possibly be gone. So what we have now is we have different organizations that are working hodgepodge with their own plans to try to come up with restoration efforts. And what this does, it creates a Seagrass Task Force that'd be chaired by the Dauphin Island Sea Lab, involves University of South Alabama, Mobile Bay National Estuary Program, and they're to come up with a 10-year plan to develop a plan for restoration.
I have a motion by Senator Chambliss, and I have a second by Senator Hatcher. Very good. Clerk, if you could call the long roll, please.
Senator Albritton? Aye. Senator Carnley? Aye. Senator Coleman?
Aye.
Senator Gudger? Senator Hatcher? Senator Hovey? Senator Kelly? Senator Coleman Madison? Senator Chambliss? Senator Elliott.
Aye. Your bill receives favorable report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
members.
sir. Senator Gavan has House Bill 335 for Representative Whitt related to building permits.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what we have in Huntsville is what we call NAHA, North Alabama Home Building Academy. And that is something that the local Home Builders Association that I'm a member of the board put together. We have a basically amounts to a voluntary tax. We authorized Huntsville to increase building permits to fund part of this. A lot of the funding comes from our discretionary funds, whether it's from the education budget or it's from our TVA funds that we've provided. But it is a tremendous bang for the buck. They're able to pivot and respond to industry demands to train up the workforce. As everyone's well aware, workforce is a big issue. The aging of our trades is a problem, and so we're training up the next generation. This is having incredible results. What this bill does is it gives other municipalities across the state of Alabama to emulate what Huntsville's done with our program.
And so it's permissive, just to be clear.
Permissive, absolutely.
I have a motion by Senator Chambliss, a second by Senator Hatcher. Do we have a good roll? Okay, using previous roll without objection, bill receives favorable report. Thank you, Senator.
Thank
We're
you.
adjourned. Thank you, members.